Everyone wants to grow, but few ever accept pain. Everyone wants to be happy, but few ever accept change. Intention is nothing without action, but action is nothing without intention. Remember, you are part of the universe. Feel what you need to feel and let it go.
Greetings, beautiful people. I hope you're having a wonderful night, day, or evening. If you aren't, just remember, God loves you. I love you. You are so loved. Today, I just want to send you guys a message of encouragement, and it's pertaining to feeling everything and anything. I know a lot of us don't like to feel negative emotions, but my journey has taught me one thing. The only way to get past something is to go through it, to feel it through. And as a Cancer, I feel everything, and sometimes I hate it. But the beauty of it is, positive feelings and feeling the good things of life. And God has blessed me to be able to really feel those things. But on the flip side, we all deal with ups and downs and negative energy. It's just here. We're on this planet and we're dealing with a lot. There's a lot going on. So sometimes it's hard to just ignore things, or let me rephrase it. Sometimes you just feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And sometimes that is a hard thing to feel. It's very hard, but being able to navigate through those feelings and just sit and feel them, it's okay to cry. It's okay to scream. It's okay to release things and let them go. And the only way you can do that is if you feel them. I have been a person to run from my feelings. And, maybe it's because I was younger and I just really didn't know better. But as I matured and got older, I realized that it was better to feel everything versus running from it. Because when you run from it, it's going to catch up to you eventually. If it comes back a season later, or if it comes back a moment later, eventually you're going to have to feel whatever you're running from or whatever you're trying not to face. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know what you're going through. But personally, my battle has always been with my feelings and emotions. And I've done my best to really learn how to navigate my own emotions. And to God be all the glory, because it is a hard thing to do. But learning to sit with your emotions, to feel them through, and to let them go is so essential and beneficial, because when you let them go, you feel better automatically. And I know it sounds easier said than done, but in reality, it's something that takes practice. I went through a traumatic experience. Actually, I went through several traumatic experiences, some worse than others, but they've all left me very jaded on life, and they've left me kind of broken. And God had to put me back together. And I had to help a little bit. I had to be there and be willing to feel everything that I need to feel in order to get past it and move through it and move past it. But I had to come to that mental space to do it, because before then I was held captive by fear. And even if I wanted to necessarily move through the emotions, I couldn't. It was so overwhelming. And, I don't like really talking about my trauma because I'm past it, but just to give you a backstory, I got brutally attacked by 2 pit bulls. They tore me apart. I had over 50 bites all over me. It left me so messed up mentally and just physically as well. I mean, I had 2 giant casts on my legs for a long time. Couldn't really walk. It was a mess. But that left me really just damaged. And at that time, I'm going to be real, mental health wasn't a big issue for people. This happened back in 2008. And so not very many people knew how to actually help me. And so then I was left to navigate myself through my feelings and emotions. And even when I went to therapists and counselors, it was like I was dealing with so many different traumas, and they only want to pinpoint the one, which I understood. But it was like, yeah, you helped me talk through one thing, but it doesn't help with the other, like 3 or 2 things. And that was very difficult for me. And it always left me feeling like, dang, I'm a basket case that no one can really help or fix. And then God told me, you're the only one that's going to be able to fix this, not them. Doesn't matter if you talk to them until you're blue in the face. You have to get through these emotions and feelings. You have to feel it. And the moment, and I tell you, this happened back in 2020, early 2020. And I literally had to sit down, and I dealt with my trauma just enough to get past it through meditation. I sat still for hours. I'm talking like at least 4 to 5 hours. I sat still. And in that range of time, I cried about 3 times. I cried and I released the feelings, because it was like, okay, I got past one hurdle with it, but then something else, traumas are deep. It's like you got to peel back the different layers of it. And so I had to go through and really sit through all of those different feelings and just feel what I was denying myself of feeling for so long. And it was very painful. It sucked. I didn't want to do it, but I had to do it because I knew if I didn't, I would not be exactly where I am today. Truth be told, because of my trauma, I was so scared to speak publicly or to open my mouth and express or share my just feelings and thoughts and emotions with people that I didn't. And to this day, I still struggle with putting my face out there. I say God guided me through releasing my voice and putting my voice out there. And although I'm not ready yet to get on camera, put myself out there like that, I am ready to speak. And that's what I've been doing since I started this podcast. And because I sat there and felt everything that I need to feel, and I went through those emotions and I released them, fast forward a whole year and a half later, my podcast is doing fantastic. I've reached people that I never even imagined that I would reach. My voice is all over the world now, and that's to God be all the glory. But had I not felt what I need to feel, that never would have happened. This never would have happened. I never would have been in this space. And so my message to you guys today is feel it. Feel everything, the good and the bad, and move past it. I'm telling you, it's going to make you stronger. Everything that you get back up from makes you stronger. Everything that doesn't take you out makes you stronger. Sometimes God has to pull us through things, push us through things, and make us feel uncomfortable things in order to see our strength, our inner strength. I didn't think I was going to survive getting attacked by dogs. Truth be told, I was definitely supposed to die. Or, in my head, I was about to die. I remember driving on the way to the hospital, and I was literally fading in and out, like consciously. I was holding on for my dear life. And then I blacked out. And when I blacked out, I forgot my memories. I didn't even know who my family was. It was that bad. God brought me back a couple days later, or a day later or so, but he brought me back. But when he brought me back, I was so messed up at that point. Because I was like, you know what? I was supposed to die. So imagine having to sit through those type of feelings and emotions where you felt like you were supposed to die. And it kind of feels like the rest of your life. It's weird. It's like, dang, I don't feel like I deserve to be here. How did I cheat death in a sense? And navigating those feelings was very hard for me. But I had to do it. I had to sit there and accept it and feel it. And then I had to see it from a different angle and perspective. I had to see it from a gratitude standpoint, literally being thankful for what I went through. And that was very hard. But that's the other key of this, being able to be thankful for all of the bad situations that you go through and you get through, because at the end of the day, they make you stronger. They make you wiser, and they make you unstoppable, because not one feeling or emotion can stop you, especially if you're a child of God. Simple as that. We're here to feel and experience. And sometimes part of that experience is going through negative things and bad things. But it's all for a purpose and for a reason. Everything works together for your highest good, for my highest good, for all of our highest goods, even if it doesn't seem like it. It's all part of God's plan. Sometimes God has to pull us through those dark stages in life in order for us to be revealed what's going on within us. Sometimes it's hard to see what's going on the inside. Because I'm an empath, I feel a lot. And sometimes I really don't want to. Especially on the days where I feel like I got the weight of the world on my shoulder because I'm feeling the heaviness of the people around me. It's very hard to navigate. But those days, I literally, before I even get up, I had to sit there and breathe. I had to sit there and pray and meditate on the goodness of God, on God's mercy and grace. And then I thank him. I don't know why I'm feeling all this today, God, but I thank you for it. And then I go throughout my day. And when I go throughout my day, I get to see, wow, okay. Even though I start off the day, in a bad state or in a state of feeling a lot of negative energies, by the end of the day, I feel something completely different and beautiful. But had I not sat through those emotions and felt what I needed to feel, release what I needed to feel, then that whole entire day probably would have been bad, right? And that's all I'm trying to say. When we can sit through things and really feel them through, we can get past it. We can move past it. And there's always a bright side to everything, whether you see it now or later. Everything happens for a reason. And I guarantee that reason is something good. Had you not gone through any traumas or anything in your past, you probably wouldn't be the person you are today, or as strong as you are today. Because for me, that's what this whole thing has proved to me, just how strong I am. And before then, I didn't think I was this strong. I'm as Cancer, again, I feel everything. And sometimes I feel like feeling is actually a superpower. When you can feel everything, not only feel it, but move past it, you become really unstoppable. And I mean that. And I feel that. When you're able to just sit with your feelings, understand your feelings, and allow them to flow. You got to let them flow. A lot of us get stuck because we don't want to feel it. We don't want to feel the negative things. We don't want to feel sadness, or we don't want to feel depression. And I'm not saying you should be depressed, but sometimes you have to feel it through. Sometimes you just got to take a day. You got to sit there with your emotions and your feelings. You got to really process them, release them, do what you can to let them go. I'm all about healing. I really am. And that's something I've picked up in the past 2-3 years, learning to heal myself. Before I even let a doctor touch me, best believe I'm healing myself. If that's through meditation, through prayer, through thought, I'm going to heal myself. It doesn't matter. I sit there with my emotions. Sometimes I got my singing bowls and I sit there and I heal and I feel everything that I need to feel. And I release it. I let it go as it comes up. I thank God for it as well. Gratitude, I'm telling you. But being able to see things from just different perspectives. And I know it's harder. It really is harder than it seems, Being able to be like, oh, okay, even though I can't see right now in this moment, it's going to work out. It's going to be for my highest good. It's hard. But you have to train your mind to do that. You have to feel it. You got to feel everything. There's a quote. I don't know who said it, but they said, feel everything or feel nothing. And I've done both. I've been the person to turn off my emotions. But then I learned that all that does is creates all of this jam-packed. All it does is just jam up. I'll give you guys a better analogy. So, you know how you get a water hose, and, you turn on the water's flowing. But then you bend it a little bit, and then the water stops. And it's like it's all just getting compressed back in that one space where you stopped you stopped it at. And then eventually when you open it back up or you unstop it, all of that water just comes spilling out and squirting out everywhere, right? That's kind of how your emotions are and your feelings are. You can stop them, but eventually they're going to overflow and come back out. And this is why I say you have to feel it. I know we live in this society where emotions and feelings have been deemed as weaknesses, but they're not. They really aren't. Don't listen to people. That's something I learned last year. Do not listen to anyone on the outside of you unless your spirit says you can trust them. If your spirit doesn't say you can trust them, don't trust them. Because people are going to gaslight you and tell you whatever they want to tell you to fit their own narratives. And we got to be real out here. We all live in this crazy world. And a lot of what's going on is we're dealing with people's negative manifestations. Yes, people can manifest negative things on this earth. And because I'm an empath, I pick those things up very easily. And it's hard. It's okay. I don't want to call it out, but I got to. Especially when it comes to major music releases and certain artists. I won't even listen to their music or their album or whatever whenever they drop it. But as soon as they drop it, it does change the frequency of the earth, of the people, because so many people are listening to those same songs or frequencies that they're starting to get on those same levels. And let's be real, a lot of the music that's coming out these days is very low vibrational. I'm not judging, I'm just being real. And what it does is it puts you in a negative state or puts you in a lower vibration. And when everybody's vibrating at a lower level, I feel that. And it's very heavy. And so sometimes I have to run away from certain music. And, I'm human. So of course, if it's an artist I like, I do listen. But for the most part, I tend to just not even give my time or attention to it because, first of all, I'm not trying to go back to a lower vibrational state on purpose. Okay. And that's the last thing I want to do. But realistically, it's about feelings and emotions and really sitting through it and feeling everything that you need to feel. And I know I kind of went off and that was probably irrelevant to this whole thing, but you really just got to sit there and feel everything that you need to feel to get past it. Just remember, everybody is trying to weather a storm, but here's the key to weathering a storm. Sit through it, sit in it, and remain and keep your peace. Remain in a space of love. And try your best to keep your peace because seasons are going to change. Every season is different. I did a podcast a while ago called Spiritual Seasons. And in that podcast, I just basically go on about the different seasons and what they bring and the changes that they bring. But the key to all of that is being able to sit through any storm or any change and keep your peace within it. And that's what I'm really trying to get out with all of this, is being able to sit through your feelings and feel them through, and don't allow them to control you, because that's exactly what they're there to do. Oh man, was that a bar? No, I'm just playing. But seriously, be able to sit with your emotions. I know it's hard, but every time you do it, you empower yourself. Every time you do it, you'll be able to do it faster each time. I'm telling you, it's all about just sitting there and maybe your way is different. It could be you getting out in nature and going on a walk or on a hike, or you doing something like drawing or writing to really just feel those emotions through. As long as you're expressing and releasing them and feeling them and not denying them. The more you deny, it's just like that water hose that's being clamped off, right? Those emotions aren't able to flow. And most emotions are there to give you inspiration in some way. You just got to learn how to channel that and really put it out there in something beautiful. My way is by expressing through speaking and talking. Now, I wish I could sing. If I could sing, I would be singing everything that I'm talking about on my podcast. But, God has other plans. So it's just about finding whatever you can to release the emotions. Personally for me, I like to just sit there and meditate through it. Other times I will go out and hike, or I'll write, and all of those things, they just help me to really feel it and release it and let it go. So it doesn't necessarily control me, but instead something is birthed through those emotions and feelings. And that's usually what God is trying to, let me not say that. But for the most part, he's just hitting us with all these different feelings and emotions and energies. And it's however we perceive it and take it. And most of the time, it's not meant to, be for bad. But, let's be real. The best art is inspired when people are down and, down bad, sad, depressed, mad, angry. Those are when the best pieces of art are birthed. I mean, of course, and out of love, but in general, not all negative emotions are bad. And again, it's about the perspective and seeing it from a brighter side, or a better standpoint. But that is about the end of this podcast. Thank you guys for listening. I hope it was able to help you in some way, or at least to see it from a different angle. God bless you guys. I love you. God loves you, and have a beautiful day, night, or evening.